he was a Pains. My old stepdad, yes, he was a Pains. Yeah, he was a Pains. And he'd do anything, he would, they couldn't whoop him. Couldn't whoop him. And his head was red, and he was red.
Well, where did he come from?
Well, I think he come from Louisiana, somewhere. Anyhow, he come somewhere. I couldn't exactly tell where he come from, because my mama come from Mississippi. And when he back up, I don't know where y'all ever see the corner fence.
Yeah, so when it's rail fence.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he'd back up in that, and they wouldn't whoop him. He'd get him a stick and keep him off. Yes, sir. And he's a great big old man, and he wouldn't let him whoop him, you see. And the master wouldn't let him hurt him, because he wouldn't let the overseer, they'd whoop you. The master would make him whoop you when the overseer didn't feed him. And they wouldn't let him whoop him at all, wouldn't they? And the old master would tell him, rather than to kill him or something like that, don't hurt him. But don't kill him, but whoop him. He wouldn't whoop him, I tell you. No, he wouldn't whoop him. No, sir, he wouldn't.
Well, how would they punish him then?
Give me a corn. Give me a corn. Just like, you give me a year of corn, and that'll be for my dinner or my breakfast. When you come home to dinner, he said to give me a year of corn. Say he shelled it off and plow along and eat it. Just plow along and eat it. Night comes, they give him a year of corn, and that's the way they fed him, punishing him, wouldn't give him nothing to eat. And say, look like he was moving along too slow, too fast with that, too good. Too good with that, just giving him corn. And he's eating it, and drinking water and going just the same. That's why they wouldn't give him none. Give him none. Wouldn't give him nothing, but let him drink water, And he lived just the same. And he lived with Mama 32 years before he died. And he never did have a scar on him, the old boss put on him.
You're listening.
My name is Fountain Hughes. I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia. My grandfather belonged to Thomas Jefferson. My grandfather was 115 years old when he died. And now I am 101 years old.
The Fountain Hughes interview was recorded in 1949. At that time, he had been living in Baltimore for about 40 years.
You talk about how old you are, Uncle Fountain.
Well,
how far back do you remember?
Well, I tell you, things come to me in spells, I remember things more when I'm laying down than I do when I'm walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my boy days, boys live quite different from the way they live now. Oh, you wore a dress like a woman until I'll be 10, 12, 13 years old.
So you wore a dress, Phil?
Yes, I didn't wear no pants because they didn't make boys' pants. Boys wore dresses. Well, the women's wearing the pants now and the boys wearing the dresses still.
Who did you work for, Uncle Fountain?
Who did I work for?
Yeah.
You mean when I was a slave?
Yeah, when you were a slave, who did you work for?
Well, I belonged to Burnley's when I was a slave. My mother belonged to Burnley's, but we didn't know nothing. Didn't like to look at no book. And there was some freeborn colored people where they had little education, but there was very few of them where we was. And we all had what you call, I might call it now, jail sentence. We just same as we were in jail. Now I couldn't go from here across the street, or I couldn't go to nobody's house without I have a note or something from my master. And if I had that pass, that was what we call a pass. If I had that pass, I could go wherever he sent me, and I'd have to be back. Whoever he sent me to, they'd give me another pass, and I'd bring that back so to show how long I'd been gone. We couldn't go out and stay an hour or 2 hours or something like that. But they'd give me a note so there wouldn't nobody interfere with me and tell who I belonged to. And when I come back, why, I carry it to my master and give that to him. That'd be all right. But I couldn't just walk away like the people does now, you know. It was what they call, we were slaves. We belonged to people. They sell us like they sell horses and cows and hogs and all like that. Have an auction bench, and they put you up on the bench and bid on you, the same as you're bidding on cattle, you know.
Was that in Charlotte that you were a slave? Was that in Charlotte or Charlottesville?
That is in Charlottesville.
Charlottesville, Virginia.
Sell the women, sell the men, all that. And then if they had any bad ones, they'd sell them to the nigger traders, what they call the nigger traders, and they'd ship them down south and sell them down south. But otherwise, if you were a good person, they wouldn't sell you. But if you were bad, mean, they didn't want to beat you and knock you around, they'd sell you to the what called a nigger trader. They'd have a regular, sale every month, you know, at the courthouse. And then they'd sell you maybe $200, $100, $500.
Just like, you know, you bring a whole lot of children, you know, and put them down, you know, in one house. Well, somebody have to look over them, you know, and tend to them that way. Just a house full of little children. And if you want to act bad, you know, they'd whoop you. They'd whoop him too, the old woman. And if the old woman didn't tend to the children, they'd whoop her too. You know, to make her tend to the children. She wasn't doing nothing. And they'd whoop her. And they had trays. And all of them, you know, would get around that tray with spoons and eat something like mush or soup or something like that. Would feed them, you know, before 12 o'clock. And all them children get around there and just eat out there. And that old woman, you know, she would tend to them. And they had certain times to come to them children. I think about this like a cow, I said, would go to the cave, you know. You know, they had certain time, you know, cow come to his cave at night. Well, they come at 10 o'clock, every day 10 o'clock to all them babies. Them what nurse, you know. Them what didn't nurse, they didn't come to them at all. The old lady fed them. When that horn blowed, they blow the horn for their mothers, you know. They just come just like cows. It's funny, you know, coming to the children.
In some cases, the parents of slaves were forced to helplessly witness their children being beaten by the masters. Former slave Caroline Hunter said in her interview, "During slavery, it seemed like your children belonged to everybody else but you. Many a day, my old mama has stood by and watched Massa beat her children till they bled, and she couldn't open her mouth. They ain't beat us, but they used to strap my mama to a bench or a box and beat her with a wooden paddle while she was naked." Throughout the hardships, slave families who were able to stay together.
He never said he couldn't get a horse and ride and walk.
Fountain Hughes.
You be barefooted in the cold, but didn't make no difference. He wasn't no more than a dog, some of them in them days. He wasn't treated as good as he treat dogs now.
On some plantations, beatings were rare or even forbidden. On others, they were unpredictable and dependent upon the temperament of overseers and slaveholders. Laura Smalley talks about one of the worst beatings she saw.
Well, the thing that old woman carried in the peach orchard and whipped her. And, you know, just tied her hand this way, you know, around the peach orchard tree. I remember that just as well, looked like to me, I can, and round the tree and whipped her. And well, she couldn't do nothing but just kick her feet, you know, just kick her feet. But it just had her clothes off down to her waist, you know. Just didn't have her plumb naked, but they had her clothes down to her waist. And every now and then they'd whip her, you know, and then snuff the pipe out on her, you know. She snuffed the pipe out on her. You know, the embers in the pipe. And where you ever see the pipe smoking.
Blow them out on her?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, have mercy.
Blow them out on her.
Did she scream?
Yeah, I reckon she was. I reckon she did. But you see, we was daring to go out there where it was, you know, because our old master would whoop us, and then Uncle Saul Uncle Saul was whoop her. You see that as the overseer, Uncle Saul. Her papa was overseer. But he had a whooper. And whooped her too. And he sure did whoop her. But he whooped her so then at night they had to grease her back. Grease her back. I don't know what kind of grease they had, but they sure grease her back. At night, you know, that way. Just grease her back. And so after they whooped her so long, whooped her then so long that way, they quit. They couldn't give her dinner. Late that evening, they give her dinner. Late that, well, she so whooped so bad then, you know, she didn't want to eat, you know. If you put whoop you half a day, you ain't want to eat. Oh, no.
Right.
They call a little child, you can whoop a little child now. He'll get mad, you know, and don't want to eat nothing. So they whooped him. So Uncle Saul, then he'll go whoop my mama. We had a brother, the oldest brother named Cal. And he was going to whoop my mother's